Sorry. Okay, are we live? Hey, I hope so because, guys, we are bringing it to you. This is Stages Podcast. We just had a little moment before this, but we are bridging the generational gap with baby boomers and millennials. I am a baby boomer. I'm Mary.
And I'm a millennial. I'm Lorena.
And I too am a millennial. My name is Zachary.
And today we're talking about my birthday.
Yay!
I don't know if anybody could tell. I look different. Do I look older? Do I look more mature and wise?
You
Because
look
I am.
wiser.
Yes. I'm dirty, flirty, 30, and thriving. I'm 30,
Yes,
y'all.
girl.
Third decade of life. Here we are. Made it.
Lorena, there's something I want to share with you.
It's a big deal.
At the head of this podcast. And what I want you to know is you don't realize this, but half of your life ago, you made a decision to do something, actually not to do something. And I want to reaffirm that that decision was the best decision, the right decision.
Where is this going?
Okay, so
I guess this is the you-know-what.
For your birthday, Mary, Dan's, and I actually went out and we decided to request a cameo for you from Jeremy Sumpter.
Stop! No! I feel so embarrassed.
Yes.
Just to be clear, I was 11 when I liked him.
Okay, more than half
15.
of your life ago. Whatever, I don't know. I'm sure it lasted into your mid-teenage years, but
Oh my god. So for anyone listening, we did I don't know what episode we did, but we talked about old celebrity crushes. And mine was freaking Jeremy Sumpter, who was the Peter Pan, the live action Peter Pan. I would see it 3 times in the theater and wrote him a fan letter. Wow, this is so embarrassing. This is legit embarrassing. I don't get embarrassed, but I feel awkward right now. I feel like really awkward.
Good. I'm glad.
My
The
God.
podcast is supposed to make you feel things, so I'm glad that
Y'all,
we're doing it.
It's really
Well,
really
well,
commemorate the years.
the thing is, Lorena, you wrote a fan letter, but you didn't send it. Is that right?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think you said.
I don't
I
think
think
I
you
ever
said
sent
you didn't send it. I think you said you
Yeah,
didn't send
probably.
it because so when we did the request, we said like, look, she wrote letters, but she never sent them, and.
So does he know I'm 30, or does he think that I'm like legit a 10-year-old?
He knows you were 30 and that. Yeah, but anyway, the reason that you made the right choice by not sending them because Jeremy Sumpter, if you are listening to this podcast right now, I condone your actions. You did not accept our cameo request.
Oh, what a little bitch.
I know, right?
There it is.
Dang, but just the fact that y'all would do that, that's
So-
some real ride or die shit right there. That's some ride or die.
Right on. Right?
Oh my god, but that's hilarious. Oh.
We
It
were
was
like,
the-
I can't believe he's not following up on this.
I'm so relieved that he kind of didn't do it, honestly. I feel that's happened to me. I requested a cameo for Ross's 30th birthday from this famous Irish dude that's like a really famous TikToker, and he never accepted it. And I was like, dang. So I don't know. I wonder what the
Are you
typical acceptance
serious?
rate is for the cameos, or if they're just inundated and they can't get to them all.
They don't have that many. I mean, look,
No.
like Mom and I, we manage Norm's cameo, and he gets a
Oh.
good amount. He gets a
Yeah.
good amount, and like he takes them very seriously. Like
Mhm.
I know we know everything about the behind the scenes of the cameo, and like they make it as easy as possible for the talent.
Mhm.
Like you literally
Oh,
just like
wow.
hold up, do a selfie, that's it, and you
I
make
mean, Norm,
$70 or whatever.
of course, Norm doesn't hold up the phone and do selfie because he has a flip phone.
So you need some parent
His requires a few more steps. He puts he puts more thought into his than I think the average cameo person does.
as he does with everything in life, more than the average human.
Absolutely.
Don't you think?
Yes.
Norm's like the epitome of thoughtfulness.
He is.
Right.
Anyway,
Absolutely.
So you didn't receive a 30th birthday party gift for us. That's not our fault. It's Jeremy Sumter's fault, and apologize for that. But anyway, we should move on to the main topic of discussion, I guess, for the podcast today.
Oh my god. Well, I'd just like to thank y'all for that gift. Thank you.
We tried.
Yeah,
We
I
tried.
really appreciate the effort. That's really that's very thoughtful. It's very thoughtful. But yeah, so being 30, I don't know, it's like pretty chill. My only thoughts have been like I've been really excited to turn 30. Like I don't know, I've been really excited to turn 30. Like ever since like I've been doing the Bible in 1 Year app, and in the spring, one of the parts I didn't know that John the Baptist and Joseph, right, were both like in like harrowing journeys and everything from like more or less 17 years old until 30, and at 30 they got like God's purpose given to them. And I just was like, oh, I'm 29, ramping up. Here we go. God's going to bring it. The big 3-0. So I don't know. I've been like, I don't know if because of that, I've just been really excited to turn 30. And because I feel like aging is very cool. And I hate all the stigmas around like being young forever, because I'm like, do you know how hard it's been to stay alive this long? Like, how hard is it for a boomer to make it to being a boomer? It's like, life is hard.
It's hard. You're right. Yeah.
And I think it's like pretty, I'm like, people are like, oh yeah, once you get old, like birthdays are no big deal. I'm like, it's a way bigger deal than when I was 5. Like I didn't even wipe my own butt. I don't like what?
Right? Like it's a big accomplishment.
Yes. So
yeah,
that's my 30 thoughts.
Yeah, it's
what
an
was
honor.
What was it like for you when you turned 30, Mary?
Oh my gosh. So when I turned 30, like the differences are so funny now, you know, the generational gap. When I was turned 30, I remember my mother said to me, like, oh my gosh, I didn't think you were going to have 2 kids before you were 30, but you ended up achieving that goal. So, like, that was, you know.
Wow.
That's
yeah.
interesting. That's
Isn't
interesting.
it? It was very, very interesting because let's see, Alec was born in 92 and I was born in 62. And so, like, right at pretty much 30 is when I had Zach and Alec.
Oh
and
my gosh.
That was what was kind of expected. If you had your kids at 30, like, that's a late age.
Yeah.
And so she was like, whew, you got under that radar, girl.
Wow.
Yeah.
Here I am just heading into a geriatric childbearing years.
But I think I mean, I couldn't imagine, like,
yeah.
Now you look at 30-year-olds and you're like, oh, that's just like way too young to have kids.
Yeah.
Right? It's like there's so much stuff to still do, and like that can come a little bit later if that's your choice.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel pretty grateful because I mean, I have a handful of friends who all have had kids, multiple kids. But my mom had me at 39. So I think that informed a lot of my, like, unconsciously, I always knew that growing up before I knew what being 39 meant. I knew that my mom had a late pregnancy. I was just like a little kid that knew that. But to some extent, then once I started becoming more informed about what that meant into my teens and 20s, I don't know, like, my mom's never pressured us to, like, have kids, and always is like, you can have kids till you're 45. So it's like, I don't know, like, I'm like really grateful that my mom is very a little against the norm in some ways, because I feel like then a lot of my friends who've had kids, their parents have been very expectant that they would have grandkids and everything like that. So
Yeah, I've heard that a lot. Like a lot of young people are like, "Oh my gosh, like my mom is really wanting me to have kids." And my always thought is like, "Well, do you want kids?" I mean,
yeah.
like it's your choice. So yeah. But
But the stigma is changing, not stigma, but the expectation. Like, I feel like you were in a time, that was mind-blowing, somebody in their mid-30s, late 30s having kids, I feel like.
oh, absolutely. And my mom was a bit older. So my mom, she was older too when she had kids. But only because she got married, and this is another generational thing. When she got married at 24. My mom is now
Wow.
93. She got married at 24, and she worked at a library. So people thought
Oh.
she was like the librarian old maid at 24 years of age.
Oh my word.
Really? Well, so what was the expectation to get at 19 or 21 or something to get married?
Yes. Yes. Like
Wow.
right out of high school, you should already have it planned. You should already, be thinking about your first brood. I mean,
When
but
did you marry Zach's dad?
let's see. In gosh,
Like, how
in
old were you?
that was in 88, so I think I was 25.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
So was that the usual age when you were getting married for people to be getting married?
Yes. Pretty
Like
much so.
mid-20s.
Yeah. That was
That
pretty
wasn't
much
like
the norm when everybody
late or
was
early.
getting
Yeah.
married. Yeah.
Man.
Yeah. Yeah, it is interesting how the dynamics have changed so much. Like something, there's such a cultural expectation around it. Like in China, for
Mhm.
example, China's so interesting. Like there, like kids are expected. So like most of the generations, like now you're allowed to have more than one child, but for the past, 20 years or something like that, there's been one child allowed. The expectation is that you go high school, you're not even allowed to date. Like you have to study, 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 study. And then once you get to university, like you're expected to be married like within those 4 years by a lot of the parents. I mean, they have like a real like check box like idea of like how life is supposed to go. And these poor kids, man, they're like, I don't even know how to talk to women, much less date
Yeah.
one, much less marry one. All I've ever done is study my whole life. I mean, it really is like it's such an interesting cultural thing.
Dang. And I thought our college experience was like pen up free for all. Can't imagine what it's like for them.
Yeah. But it is, I also think it's interesting, like at 30, like Nurtouch and I both have turned 30 in the last year also. And I mean, neither of us want kids right now or anytime soon. Maybe down the line. We may adopt, maybe, honestly. I mean, we've had that discussion too, but like, I can't see it happening within the next few years. I don't know.
Same. Yeah.
We're just, I
Good
don't
for you
know.
guys.
It's our generation. Yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Mhm.
We're more selfish. I don't know if that's the right thing. We're more career oriented. I don't
I
know.
think we're a little bit more like for me, I feel like career oriented for sure. Like obviously that's, but also a little more methodical in the way that we like want to make sure everything's like aligned with the flow. You know what I mean? Not like methodical in the way of how things should be, but how things are meant to be for us. Like I think our generation in this time really has a lot of self-questioning, and maybe that's selfish, like could be said selfish in some ways, but in the other end of that, I think it's like kind of a good thing, because I think that we're really thoughtful about big decisions, like I didn't just
Yeah.
like blindly move home to live with my parents. I've been like really thoughtful about where I hope to be. Obviously, I like, I don't know. And at this point, I feel like Ross and I are really thoughtful about like our finances and like wanting to buy a house or like have thoughtful investments. But maybe it's the privilege that millennials had, because I feel like it was more normalized for our generation also for your 20s to just be like a free for all shit show
You
in a
know,
way.
and
Yeah.
you hit on a point too. Actually, that's the other point I was going to make. There's the financial element. I think that's a bigger part of it. I mean, the reality is in, the 80s or 90s, a married couple, I mean, you could have a man working 40 hours a week selling VHS tapes or something like that, and he could buy a house for his family and 2 cars and raise 2 children on that
Yeah.
salary. And now that's not going to cut it. I mean, like, life is a lot more expensive now, and having a child is insanely expensive. I mean, like, you gotta really like have a lot of support or force yourself into a good situation, if you want to raise your child with the types of conditions that, like our generation was able to be raised with. It's just more expensive now, and that's a harsh reality. And I think that's prevented, and not to mention, I mean, a lot of people in our generation have, medical bills are much higher, university payments,
so much
debt.
debt.
Yeah, there's so much debt that it's like, seriously, like, how can I be expected to have a child, with all of this, and to give, to purchase a home and be a homeowner? And there's so much uncertainty about the world. I mean, there's a lot of very legitimate reasons that our generation is less inclined to have children, I would say.
Yeah. Absolutely. Whereas with my generation, it was more an expectation. That's what you did. And now the expectation is completely different. And for our generation, we just followed that pattern of like, okay, you go to school, you go to college, then you get married, you have kids. And I'm glad you guys are breaking that mold, I'm glad that you're like, there's no expectations. I
And
love
so
that.
much freedom with jobs too. Like, if not for internet and social media, like, that's Nurtouch's career. And like, I mean, how else would I be able to do music, without this availability? And also, I feel there's still a lot of expectation and stigma. Like, I get a lot of weird like, people just don't think I do anything. Like, people just have no idea of like what running a small business and then also being the face of it and also being a content creator. People like it's hard. Like, people don't know, but it's way more accepted. And like, the younger generations are now old enough and they fully understand it. Like, Gen Z fully has like full respect for content creators and full respect. So it's kind of like turned the tide a little bit. And like, us millennials are sandwiched in between the like baby boomers who still like my parents do not understand the power of social media, the money of social media. They just could not less understand. Like, they like me like getting a job, But then it's like, then my younger cousins who are all like college, high school age are like full-fledged, know all the stats of the biggest YouTubers and all the stats of like whatever artists were independent before they, so then it's like cool because we're like in the middle of like, we have like both sides of the coin, and we're like a little bit the balancers, I feel like, in some ways, of like some of us are this way and some of us are that way, and like figuring it out. I don't know.
Wow.
I hope at least.
Right? Yeah.
I hope we're some kind of gap bridge.
Absolutely, because that's what we do here at Stages. We bridge those gaps.
Hell yeah.
Hell
We'll
yeah.
have to do a Gen Z interview one of these days.
That'd be great. Yeah, to get a Gen Zer on here.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's it.
That's what's up.
Bridging that gap. Here we go. Mary, you really are like the gap whisperer. The generation gap whisperer.
I'm the
You are. You're like you get the boomers and you can like fit into the boomers and above the silent generation and all that, but you're also so freaking cool and hip and like, yeah, what's going on? What's vibing, y'all? Here, show me your ways. Show me your younger gen ways. But also let me impart some wisdom on you. The generation whisperer. That's you.
That's me.
You.
Woo!
That's a good label.
Yeah, maybe we should change the podcast name to Generational Whisperer.
Yes.
I like it.
I love it.
Yeah, I just love learning from the young, like all the young generations. I don't know. I like the vibes. I love learning. I like to see how they just, they move, they swing. I love it.
Yes. Heck yeah.
Heck yeah. I'm taking that label. I'm running with it. I got some whispering to do, y'all.
Well, this has been a great episode. Thank y'all for tuning in and listening along. Feel free to wish me a happy birthday in the comments on social media, whatever you want to do. But totally no pressure. It's no pressure. And Jeremy Sumter, if you're watching this.
Fuck you.
But I was like, are we allowed? The 10-year-old inside of me is so upset / relieved. Oh my god. Would have felt so awkward.
If you're really watching this, Jeremy Sumter, I'm sorry. We're playing. I'm being funny.
We know you have a lot. You're a busy man.
Exactly. Total respect.
I'm sure you are super busy. Yeah, we respect that. We get it.
Yeah.
But don't ever ask us for a cameo.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When someday Lorena Lee's like the next Grammy winning and your girlfriend's like, I'm a huge fan. Want a cameo from her. Forget it. Just kidding. I do it. For an old crush.
At half price too.
Yeah. Okay.
All right, guys. That's a wrap.
That's a wrap.
Happy birthday, Lolo. Zach, keep rocking the 30.
Cool.
Peace out.
Peace out.